Welcome everyone to our Digital Design and Estimating Commercial session for Offsite Ready, the project that delivers knowledge for change. My name is Katrina Jordan and I'm an architect and lecturer at the City of Glasgow College. We are a project partner in the Offsite Ready project. This training session is delivered by Construction Scotland Innovation Centre. We're delighted that you've joined us this morning for an insight into digital design and estimating in commercial. The content can and will equip educators in all areas of offsite construction. This flexible programme is free and easy to use. This morning we will start with digital design, firstly an overview of the subject, then an opportunity for question and answer, moving on to estimating in commercial, and then finally discussing our teaching support package. Before we go any further, to ask a question, click on questions in the control panel. It should be located at the right hand side of your screen. Type your question and press send. We will answer as many questions as we can in our Q&A slots. The webinar will be recorded and the link will be posted on our social network channels. Finally, there are some polls throughout the webinar which we are keen for you to participate in. And after the webinar, there will be an evaluation form. Please complete it as it will help us in providing future services. I'd like to thank Danielle Miller and Kirsty Duncan from Construction Scotland Innovation Centre who are providing all the technical support this morning. And here's our first poll. Which area do you educate and train in? Education construction, education built environment, industry design, or industry supply? If you'd just like to post your vote now. So most people this morning from construction, education, and then built environment is 29%, and some people from industry supply, so that's excellent. So let's take a look at our first digital design video.
Almost all design and construction nowadays is digital. The application of digital design tools can bring many benefits to the development of a project. Digital tools include both machinery, for example CNC technologies, and software such as CAD, 3D visualization and BIM tools. Building information modelling is a key tool for digital design and one we will focus on in this video. Offsite offers more opportunities for integration of digital technology into the design process through CAD, CAM application. This is computer-aided design and computer-aided manufacturing. With offsite construction in the factory environment, there are a lot of opportunities to use semi-automated equipment in production. Instructions can be generated from the design model, in this way bridging the gap between design and manufacturing. The REBA plan of work with its 8 stages is used throughout the industry in both offset and traditional construction processes. The main difference in the design stages when designing digitally for offsite construction is the so-called early design freeze. This is the stage before manufacturing starts, when all aspects of the design need to be agreed and finalised. This can be very detailed, for example right down to the style of the kitchen cupboard handles. This is a very important change in the mindset for designers, compared to traditional process where changes to the detailed design sometimes occur while the building is in construction. One of the main benefits of this early detailed design stage, when combined with BIM, is the so-called digital twins. These are digital-rich component-based models of entire projects. This helps to show the stages of the construction process to Industry 4.0 through detailed analysis of the building's performance before any of the works begin on site.
This is an example of a parametric component. I select the object and I have the ability to change numerous facets about this. This is currently showing a beam in post. Now my beam is at a lower position. If I want to have the beam at a higher position, I can simply select that, press apply, or I can change any other characteristic about this part. Or if this component wishes to be a racking wall made from cross-laminated timber, I can simply select that, Or if this wall wanted to be a component made from timber frame, I can simply select that, press apply, and there's a timber frame there. If I go back to the racking wall made out of CLT for just now, and if I wish to add a window within here, I can add a window or a door or any form of opening. I can then specify the height, sizes and location of this opening.
For example, if embodied carbon data is provided for each of the materials contained in the model, designers can manipulate the building's embodied carbon footprint with relative ease.
We can look at the BIM model using the layout tool. Anything that's changed within the original model instantly and automatically gets updated within the layout. So we've got one source of true information. And this one BIM model creates the entire cutting and manufacturing drawings. And there's examples here. So we've got a panelized drawing here, and above it we've got all the weights and the global warming potential for this. If I zoom into one, you can see the cutting list for that one panel. So on the summary for this project, we can calculate exactly how much material of what type was used, and within that we've already captured the global warming potential for this. So for this project here, we have the summary output categorizing that, and also your full cutting list and order list for the project.
The same goes for time and cost analysis with 4D and 5D BIM simulations, which add additional dimensions to the traditional 2D and 3D models. The application of digital design in Offsite and BIM can also have its challenges. In the digital design market, there are large, ever-increasing numbers of software programs and associated file formats. Even within one organisation, you will often find that different people have different preferences for the tools they use and how they use them. Thinking of a typical large-scale residential development, there will be many project partners, each with different software conventions. The interoperability of these tools and their naming formats are often so complex that Specialist BIM Manager is sometimes employed to decide and maintain the necessary file formats and version control across different software packages. Often the models from different partners are overlaid in one single model using the Industry Foundation class, or IFC, file format. The application of BIM tools for off-site construction is often very exciting, as new developments keep on emerging in the market. Today we are filming at the Trimble Technology Lab at Napier, and we will show you a few tools including SketchUp Pro, Techlit Eds, a drone and a scanner. This is only a snapshot of the technology available at the moment. With future developments, we expect to see increased usage of virtual reality and augmented reality design for off-site construction projects. With virtual reality, we can develop more interactive training courses, such as in the Convert project, where an off-site timber frame single-family home can be constructed by students and learners at all levels. Similar virtual learning environments can be created for the on-site assembly of off-site systems, thus providing any health and safety training to cover any risks. Augmented reality, where the data-rich BIM model is overlaid on top of the actual reality, which offers even more greater opportunities for the use of digitisation during manufacturing and construction. One of the immediate applications of augmented reality can be within quality control. As designed and as constructed versions of the model can be directly overlaid to identify any differences and correct them before handover to the client. In summary, the application of digital design tools in off-site manufacturing is enhanced through CAD/CAM design processes. One of the main differences to be aware of in off-site construction is the early design freeze compared to traditional construction. In this, BIM tools with 4D time and 5D cost analysis can be used to predict and optimise the performance of a project during construction. A challenge in this process can be the vast array of tools available with different file extensions. A solution to this is often Industry Foundation class, IFC, file type. In the near future, we are likely to see increased use of virtual reality and augmented reality for training, design development and quality control. Congratulations, you are now off-site ready with knowledge for change in digital design.
I hope that gave you a good overview of digital design, I just want to now share my screen with you and show you some of the content available on our website. So here you can see the website, which is can be accessed at offsiteready.com. Also here we have this is the homepage that you'd be faced with when accessing the website. We have along here the training materials, and if I click on the training materials, we have the 7 modules. If I click on training materials, you're faced with a description of all 7 modules, and if you select digital design, in this case, this is all the teaching content that you would be able to access for digital design. So we have an animation of the digital design, a module descriptor. We also have a PowerPoint, which is downloadable and editable, which is really important for your own teaching and learning. Also, just at the end of, sorry, just to interrupt, at the end of this quick session here, in a few minutes, there'll be opportunity for question and answer. So if you have any questions, please post them in the chat panel and we'll pick them up. Also here we have a digital design booklet, which is downloadable, and infographics, which gives you a really good high-level overview of topics contained. So, and then we have the module overview video as well. So if you look at the booklet, we can just access it here, download it and access it. There's 6 titles for each module, which are digital skills, information management and communication, procurement, tendering and contracts, health and safety, management and planning, factory operations and site operations. So within each module, there's content there that would be able to align with digital design or estimating and commercial. So if you want to explain to your class maybe the relationship between REBA plan of works and digital design, you can simply access the content there, and you can also access the content on the PowerPoint. So if you were explaining to the students something about understanding relevant codes and standards, you could edit just that PowerPoint and use that section for your teaching and learning. Also, just another thing I want to cover on the website, which we'll look at later on in the overview, but I have we had a summer student challenge over the past 12 weeks during the summer, which City of Glasgow College students and Napier University students took part in, which was a design project, and you'll hear a little bit more about it, but the website's just recently been updated. I just wanted to draw your attention to both teams. So we had 2 teams, a group of mixed students, and we'll talk about it later, but their presentations are now uploaded here on the website. They did as a live webinar to mentors and industry experts presenting their work. So really check this out, but we'll cover that in a little bit later. Currently we don't have any questions, but please post your questions and we'll answer them in the next opportunity as well. So if we're just going to now move on to our estimating and commercial video. Oh, sorry, I've just seen a question's come up, and it's about accessing and using the training material. The training material is really easy to use, and we'll talk about that later, but there's also a teaching support pack, which I'll talk through with you as well. And it shows you where subjects across the UK identified as units that are taught in construction and the built environment, and where offsite construction can be integrated into. So that's a really great tool. I'll discuss that with you later. And also it gives you 3 levels of training that can be delivered: an introduction level, a medium level, and an advanced level. And it gives you the training support system gives you indicative sessions that you could do with your class. So maybe a lecture, an interactive workshop, maybe a site visit if possible. And also we have our Udemy platform, which I'll show you later on, which is the video overviews with question and answers throughout. Just before we move on to estimating commercial, we have a quick poll. Currently, offsite construction, currently which category of offsite construction are you most familiar with? So we have panelled systems, volumetric systems, sub-assembly and components, or hybrid system. Which one do you recognise most? You just want to post your answers now. So panelised systems being the most popular, and I think that's really important, and it recognises that there's such great advantages of panelised systems, but also we need to start thinking about other offsite construction methods. And we're just going to now move on to estimating and commercial.
Every construction project has a commercial and business operations side. Indeed, this module on estimating and commercial can be considered the backbone of any offsite enterprise, regardless of scale and location. Similar to the other Offsite Ready videos, we will cover some main differences between offsite and on-site construction, benefits and challenges for offsite construction, followed by applications and future opportunities. So here we go. The main difference between offsite and on-site construction when it comes to commercial process lies in the decision-making process of the procurement stage. I spoke on this topic with Anne Bentley, Global Board Director at Riddell Levitt Bucknell in London, to get to the bottom of what the differences are in the real world. With the traditional procurement model, the design typically progresses past planning approval without regards for the construction method. After the project goes to tender, contractors offer different construction methods to achieve the design at various costs. With offsite construction, the decision that a part of the building process will be transferred to a factory environment needs to be taken much sooner, ideally in the initial strategic definition stage. In this way, the design can be informed by the dimensional limitations of the selected offsite construction system. Transport regulations, for example, which we'll cover in more detail in the logistics video, can influence the standard width, height and length of the offsite system. If the building spatial design does not consider the component-based construction with standard dimensions, it is often complicated and time-consuming to reconfigure the approved design for offsite manufacturing. In this way, unfortunately, the opportunity to use offsite construction will be eliminated rapidly, simply due to timings in the procurement process. Offsite construction offers several estimating and commercial benefits. One of the leading benefits recognized by clients is reliability in resources management. With the increased control over materials and labor costs in the factory, the client can have higher certainty that the first cost figure they're presented with will also be the actual sum to be paid for the manufacturing parts of the project. Afterwards, in the construction stage, the rapid component-based installation of offsite systems can ensure that the project is also delivered on time. As we all know, time is money, and this is especially true on a building site where increased time means increased staff, plant, permits and loan costs. In this way, with predictable and often reduced construction times, offsite systems offer the advantage of more reliable cost estimations. Unfortunately, offsite construction also has some challenges, especially in the level of required upfront capital investment in manufacturing facilities. At Ilke Homes in Yorkshire, for example, funding of more than £30 million was required to set up and scale up the factory to its current production of approximately 2,000 homes per year. a fragmented construction industry with many micro, small and medium enterprises, an investment of this scale is not to be underestimated. The level of the upfront investment will depend on the size of the factory and its level of automation. Often businesses start production with manual processes, and after some income is generated and built up, they invest it in gradually purchasing equipment and skills training. Another often encountered financial issue in offsite construction is cash flow. In the factory environment, all materials for the given project need to be procured in time for start of manufacturing with their relative lead-in times. This can mean everything from the structural materials such as steel, timber or concrete to the light bulbs and washing machines. This is why staged payments are often requested by the manufacturer to alleviate some of the pressure of having to spend company resources on labor, plant and materials upfront. Understandably, the staged payments at set intervals can make the clients apprehensive, as they are providing payment before the project is completed. In practice, estimating for offsite construction in comparison to on-site construction can be challenging. If you don't have experience in estimating for offsite materials, plant and labor, it can be difficult to find accurate information in the standard databases and books. A useful starting point to understand estimation for offsite construction can be the Structural Timber Association's Masonry and Timber Frame Cost Comparison Report, published in May 2018, which showed that the two systems were on par in terms of costs to the client. Where offsite can offer application advantages over other construction systems is in understanding the whole lifecycle cost of a project. With the help of building information modeling, not only the construction but also the operating and maintenance costs of a building can be predicted early on in the process. Anne Bentley mentioned an example project where the main contractor was hired to upkeep the building for 3 years after construction. This meant that all the building works were delivered to a high standard and according to the specification, so as to make the contractor's job easier later on. These are exactly the types of advances we expect to see in the future on estimating and commercial work for offsite construction. What we may also see is increased use of design for manufacture and assembly plus disassembly, or DFMA plus D for short. This takes into consideration the reuse or refurbishment of some of the offsite components. Use of DFMA plus D can form an even more comprehensive and more sustainable picture of the building's whole life cycle costs. Another future opportunity to help drive more use of offsite in the construction industry is the development of more collaborative procurement models. In summary, estimating and commercial activities are a key aspect to guarantee the success of an offsite project. The early engagement of all partners in the supply chain is fundamental in offsite construction projects. If the offsite manufacturer is involved early, costs for the manufacturing and on-site construction can be predictable for the client. Some challenges are, however, the upfront investment and accurate comparison to other building systems. In application, offsite construction can offer a better understanding of the whole life cycle costs. In the next few years, we expect to see this develop further alongside more collaborative procurement models. Congratulations on completing the Offsite Ready Estimating and Commercial video. Stay tuned to gain more knowledge for change in logistics in the next video.
I hope that gave you a good insight into estimating and commercial. Before we look at our next video, I just want to open up the polls again. What is the biggest barrier to adopting offsite construction? Is it culture, financial, skills shortages, or lack of government incentives? What do you think? Yep, cultural coming through at 67%. I think that's really definitely it's just people's perception and the way we've always done things in the past. So, and lack of government incentive, and then as kind of Mila highlighted in the overview video, financial as well. Next, I have a video to show you. It was an interview I did a few months ago with Jamie Hellier from Akerlof discussing procurement and contracts, which I think you'll find very interesting. After the video, there'll be another opportunities for some question and answers, so please post any questions you have in the chat panel and press send during the next video. Thanks.
Hi and welcome to our Offsite Ready Estimating and Commercial Training Session, the project that delivers knowledge for change. Today we have Jamie Hellier, a founding partner at Akerlof, a company which focuses on modern methods of construction. Prior to that, Jamie was a director at Care Construction. Welcome, Jamie, and thank you for joining us today. Just want to dive straight into the questions. Can you describe the main differences that should be considered in procurement processes for offsite construction compared to traditional construction?
Yeah, of course, and thank you. So I think there are certainly differences between offsite and traditional construction, but probably less so if you compared what I call offsite and good practice. And the reason that I make that distinction is one of preparedness and planning. Attempting to retrofit offsite thinking into a project, particularly at a late stage, is unlikely to yield benefits, and probably quite the contrary. So instead, offsite solutions really requires strategy, it requires planning and forethought. And that's shown up when if you took the time to review the REBA DFMA overlay, you would see a number of considered activities, particularly in the early stages, relating to procurement. Offsite solutions certainly necessitate design teams to consider design for manufacture and assembly, so DFMA, and therefore challenge a team to examine not only how best a building can be constructed, but how components of a building can be manufactured to aid the building process. So developing procurement models that facilitate this creates a change in emphasis, it creates a change in roles, and it creates a change in activities. And selection of the team, their offsite experience, their awareness can be probably the first key distinction, and this carries through in developing a procurement strategy which should be shaped to afford flexibility, not only for the varying technical solutions, but also an emphasis towards behaviours for effective collaboration as well. Now, the appropriateness of early contractor engagement, particularly around ownership of design, is a key distinction. That very much depends upon whether an offsite solution, what it is and where it sits along the 7 categories of the MMC definition framework as provided by the MHCLG. I think if you focused at it from a more commercial perspective, the principle of procuring offsite solutions certainly raises question marks around cost transparency, how you can maintain competitive tension if you move towards a single action procurement process. There's question marks around the balance sheet of some offsite specialists and their capacity to assume risk. And also there is for procurers a shift in risk profile, not only from transitioning works offsite, but also the design responsibility. And again, all of the profiles of what I've just mentioned are not only dependent upon the type of offsite activity, but also the project specifics and particulars, the market context, and that's probably particularly pertinent in this sort of COVID environment, but also your client's tolerance to risk. I think all of them are resolvable, but they each require consideration. And for me, the key distinction is they require that consideration at an early strategic stage of a project, given that they are certainly not following that traditional process. The final one I would raise is between offsite and traditional is around value. Offsite solutions necessitate a clear focus on value, and that might sound a really simple concept, but often cost is perceived as the exclusive value driver. I think offsite solutions challenges anyone in a procurement position to really truly understand what is the value drivers of the project. And as well as the business that is seeking to procure it, and in turn the reason for offsite. Offsite solutions are an enabler, they're not an end in itself, and therefore considering offsite needs to be done so in the context of what you're trying to achieve.
Sure. Thank you very much. That's really interesting. In your opinion, with widely available contracts in the market, do you think any of these are suitable for offsite construction? And if not, why not?
Okay, I think this may well sound like a politician's answer, but I think they're all suitable and unsuitable to in the same manner. As standard contracts, they offer a framework which can be utilised, but as a standard, they don't necessarily reflect the nuances. And that's why within the industry, we're all familiar with the fact that there are thousands of amendments, and contracts are typically heavily amended.
Yeah.
And the reason for doing so, the key issues are predominantly in the context of offsite, relate to definition of scope, risk, and valuation. And that might manifest itself, whether it be quality assessment and valuation, how and when valuation will be assessed and quality certified in an offsite environment as opposed to being on site. It might be an issue around title, particularly prominent when you consider the risk of insolvency. And that applies certainly in the volumetric end of the spectrum, how components that might be part of a production line can be vested, how step-in rights might operate. It might be practical risk apportionment aspects, such as who carries the risk for damage in transportation. That probably isn't expressly identified or dealt with under defined contract terms. Similarly, in regards to design, as design apportionment and ownership shifts, that has implications particularly around intellectual property rights, where a client is typically given a copyright license to use the IP, but they might want to apply volumetric solutions to a much broader portfolio. So all of those issues, I think, again, are resolvable. I don't think any of them are new. And for those companies that procure items like lifts, capital plant, or curtain walling systems, they'll have all experienced challenges of developing contracts that accommodate for locations of manufactured goods beyond the site demise.
Yeah.
But I think a more consistent approach for addressing that has to be a step forward.
Okay.
Where the NEC prepared a practical note probably about 18 months ago, and I would expect that other standard form contract producers will follow suit, which in my view has to be a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Thinking about in terms of design fees, it's very important within a design process for offsite construction projects, but it's equally important from an estimating and commercial perspective. Why is that?
I think design freeze is important because it gives definition and alignment of scope. And if you're in an estimating or procuring or commercial position, that's really key, because you need to be clear about what has been priced relative to what's been drawn. That is how you ensure there is internal alignment, and equally provide your customer with clarity of your offer. I think as models start to evolve, that is building information modeling and BIM, and they become rich with more cost data, then the traceability of change will start to dilute the importance of design freeze. But certainly in the first instance, being able to apply prices at a component level will enable estimating and commercial teams to be more dynamic and work with greater speed in parallel with iterative designs. But as we sit here today, the basic principles of having a defined design which is aligned with a scope and a price and a set of commercial descriptions that follow is absolutely key, whether that be in a traditional or offsite sense.
Sure. An offsite construction differs to that of traditional construction in terms that it's front loaded. The client needs to invest more before any manufacturing starts. But what are the long-term benefits of that approach?
Yeah, I think the long-term benefits of offsite have been championed for many years, are organisation myself, we advocate modern methods of construction, but actually quite a lot of MMC is not actually that modern. I think the principles of the benefits are pretty broadly accepted, whether that be reduction in construction program time, increased certainty, reduction in on-site labour, with subsequent improvements on health and safety. Equally, a reduction in reliance upon skilled labour, a point that Mark Farmer through Modernise and or Die has highlighted, as well as construction quality, and I think now the better environmental outcomes, not least reducing waste, all of which, when you throw in the mix, leads to a more productive and improved industry. And to that extent, I think one of the trends that we, certainly I've observed over the last couple of years, is the drive behind offsite solutions is becoming greater than just building things better and quicker. And more importantly, it's now focusing upon building better things. Now, how those benefits are actually realised by individual clients, I think depends on their individual business model and their needs. And that, for me, is why you should conduct that strategic review for a project or a portfolio, and why I mentioned earlier about the principle of offsite being the enabler to better outcomes, not the outcome in itself.
Sure, that makes sense. Could you tell us a little bit about any innovative projects that you're currently working on?
The first one is a piece of work that we've been doing for a while in collaboration with the Social Profit Calculator. They're an organisation that is focused around social value, and we've supported them to develop a calculator dedicated to offsite solutions.
Right.
So similar to the government's principle of levelling up, to address regional disparity and depravity, we've worked with a couple of other partners, Kier, Pagabo and RLB, to create a tool that quantifies the benefit of social value investment within offsite solutions relative to traditional options.
Wow, that's great.
And by giving that direct comparison, it enables projects to consciously address skills shortages in one area by moving activities to locations across the country and hopefully sustain sustainable employment in other areas. So the other projects that we're particularly proud of that we've taken an active role in is the platform project with the Construction Innovation Hub.
Right.
And I guess for those that aren't aware, it's a project that is designed and has the ambition to share and shape a more sustainable solution for the government's new build programme. And it does through collaboration of a raft of industry players, much broader than just our company, focused on developing a prototype, testing and demonstrating a platform solutions using a kit of parts. So kits of parts is something we've previously undertaken. It's an area that we're keen to work and collaborate with others, and there's some really fantastic organisations that are party and privy to that. And for us, I think it's an opportunity which hopefully will make an impact on the industry.
Yeah, brilliant. Two excellent projects. Thank you so much, Jamie, for joining us today. And thank you for your continuous support in the Offsite Ready project.
Well, thank you. Again, appreciation of the work that you're doing. Many thanks for inviting us. And for anyone who listens, thank you for getting engaged.
I think you'll agree, Jamie gave us some really good insights into different procurement methods and his thoughts around that. We're just going to move on to our next poll, and then we'll have some questions. Which stage of offsite construction is the most significant in regards to estimating commercial? Strategic definition, concept design stage, spatial coordination, or manufacturing and construction? What do you think? Strategic definition, yep, definitely coming in as the top for the most significant in regards to estimating commercial. So I think everything's coming around this early engagement and planning, and it kind of leads on to our question from one of the participants. So if early collaboration is important, where do you get the support to move towards using offsite practices? And I think that's a really important question, and it has many ways to look at that. First of all, when we're trying to adopt offsite construction, so trying to bring it in at an early stage is one of the key things, so into education, and so it becomes part of the formal education within the construction industry. So one step, utilising the content so that people are moving into construction or into work with knowledge of offsite construction. Also, Scotland have offsite OSS, Offsite Solutions Scotland, which is a sort of collaboration of people working in offsite construction and working with education, where they're getting together and they're sharing ideas, they're sharing good practice, and they're also working with education and people like Dr. Mila Duncheva and Robert Hairstands at Napier University. It's supported by people such as Matt Stevenson, who formerly was a founder of Carbon Dynamic, and Robertson Timber Engineering, and Neil Sutherland as well from Macker. People that are working in the industry currently in offsite construction. So I think this is a great place to start to get advice if you're thinking of moving into the sector or wanting to adopt your methods of construction and manufacturing and into offsite construction. So now we're just going to move on. I think if you have any more questions, please post them, and if we don't pick them up this morning, we'll pick them up afterwards. We're going to move on now to an overview of all the teaching material from our teaching support system, which will assist you in utilising the Offsite Ready content. Hi, my name is Katrina Jordan. I'm an architect and lecturer at the City of Glasgow College. The City of Glasgow College are one of the project partners in the Offsite Ready project. My main role within this project has been creating the video content along with Dr. Mila Duncheva and carrying out Scottish-based training sessions for the Offsite Ready project via webinar. This morning I'm going to run through a few aspects of the Offsite Ready teaching content, which can be accessed from Offsite Ready website, www.offsiteready.co.uk or .com. Firstly, I will look at the teaching support system, then I'll briefly run through our Udemy platform, and finally I will discuss the Are You Offsite Ready Student Summer Challenge that took place over the past 12 weeks of the summer, and the final presentations were on the 27th of August. Everything I'm going to run through can be accessed from the website. Firstly, I'll look at the teaching support system. Teaching support pack can be downloaded, and it has this contents page that will guide you through its use. What I want to focus on is a mapping exercise that was carried out for the Offsite Ready project. It highlights a range of courses across the UK, and if you were to deliver those units or those courses, what areas of the content should you use? So for example, if you were looking at delivering modern methods of construction and introduction, offsite fundamentals and meta skills would be recommended for you to use in your teaching and learning. There's a key at the bottom, numbered 1 to 7, which is referenced to along the top of the page. Again, if you are teaching domestic construction, you should focus on digital design and Offsite Ready fundamentals. If we go back to our website, the teaching material can be downloaded from the website, training materials, and we have the 7 modules here. If I click on digital design, for example, and scroll through, you're presented with animations, a module descriptor, a slide deck which can be downloaded and edited, PowerPoint, downloadable infographics, an overview video of the whole subject area, teaching booklets for the whole project. If we go back to our teaching support pack and scroll to section 6, there are suggested delivery methods here. The content has been suggested delivery is broken down into 3 levels: an introduction level, a medium level, and an advanced level. And this would guide you through suggested delivery options. So if you were delivering, say, fundamentals at an introduction level, maybe a national certificate level, it would be recommended that you give 1 lecture with a site visit or a factory visit, a small design project, a feedback session on the design, and an interactive workshop. We will look at how the content can be adapted into a project through the Offsite Student Summer Challenge in a moment. But first of all, I want to just quickly refer you to our Udemy platform. If I go back to the home page, we have our free Udemy course is now live. If you click on that and ask your students to enroll, they'll be faced with this. They need to sign in and create an account. And here we have 7 modules: Offsite Fundamentals, Digital Design, Estimating Commercial, Logistics, Offsite Manufacture, On-Site Placement and Assembly, Management and Integration. These 10-minute videos, ask your students to watch the videos, and then they'll have a quiz after they've watched the video. This is a great form of formative assessment for the students. So if we focus on looking at the Student Design Challenge. So this is a student design challenge that was completed by students over the summer, over the past 12 weeks. The project comprised of university students, Napier University students, and City of Glasgow College students, carrying out a design brief which can be accessed here. Again, this is downloadable as a Word document or a PDF, and it can be edited. It tells you, the educator, what you need to do to create the project, and then it has a project brief which you can edit and adapt to suit and maybe a different site, location, building project. This particular project was a site located in Linlithgow, just outside Edinburgh, Scotland. The students were tasked with designing a skills hub / visitor centre that included for social, economic and environmental sustainability. They were split into 2 teams, and each team took on a role, be it digital designer, quantity surveyor, project manager. Over the 12 weeks, along with mentors from industry and education, they would discuss the project. So each week they would have a different mentor to discuss the project with and ask questions and show the progress. Each mentor provided a 10-minute video overview on their subject area, which has been uploaded onto our Offsite Ready platform, which you can access here. The students also completed video logs and uploaded them onto our website, discussing where they were at a particular stage in the project and what tasks they were doing and what tasks they still were to complete. This can all be found at on our website. The students met the outputs that were identified to them in the brief. And here's an extract of some of the submissions. This was all coordinated and managed by Louise Rogers as part of Napier University's BEX project, Built Environment Exchange project. The students presented their work via webinar, each one explaining their project and their involvement. I'll just go through some of this. Once both teams presented their projects live, a poll was then taken, and the panelists and judges provided their vote. The winning team was then announced live. Sweco, one of the project mentors, had generously donated a cash prize for both teams. Obviously, for the winning team, slightly more. This project has been a success due to the organisation of the project from Louise Rogers and Dr. Mila Dincheva. All mentors, but most importantly, the students. These students were from different courses, different universities and colleges at different levels, and they all worked together to produce what I'm running through just now, which you must admit looks fantastic. They worked together virtually, having never met each other in person, and I think their outputs speak for itself. The project shows that educators like yourselves can deliver something similar over the next few months, and I know I'm intending to do this. I hope you found this helpful. Any questions, please ask me, and everything that I've ran through today can be downloaded from the website, our Offsite Ready website. Thank you. Hope that gave you a good overview of the teaching support system, and any questions, just please follow them up and I will answer anything you have. We had a question, sorry, that came at the end of the last question session, which I missed, and it was just in regards to the social profit calculator. Is it freely available? What we'll do is I'll speak to Jamie, and if it is, I'll send you a direct link to it, which, yeah, I think it's a great idea. It'd be great to use for the students as well. Just want to go through our last poll with you. Which module do you think that you will utilise most? Offsite fundamentals, digital design, estimating commercial and logistics, offsite placement and assembly, on-site placement and assembly, management and integration. You just want to cast your vote. Offsite fundamentals, it's a great starting point. It's a high level overview, and it taps into every single aspect of the whole offsite construction process. So I think it's great, and the content is really excellent that's there. All our content today and much more can be accessed from our website. In the teaching support system, the RU Offsite Ready Student Challenge information is included. I have included the brief for the student challenge, which can be edited within your content handouts today. You can edit this to suit your project. As shown in the video, you can access and download all this content. There's 10-minute presentations from our mentors involved in the project, talking about a range of subjects from design considerations to mass timber to inclusive design to SketchUp tutorials. Please check them out. And as I said before, please check out the students' presentations. They're really excellent. Also, once you have completed the Udemy course, you and your learners will receive a certificate. Within today's handouts, you'll also receive a certificate of completion for the training sessions. We hope this webinar has been inspiring and that you will adopt the content into your training, teaching and learning. This session was not only aimed to introduce you to our project and materials, but to highlight the importance of addressing some key drivers that have been discussed, like sustainability, digitisation, skills shortages, reduction in waste, improvement in building performance, to name a few. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you to CITB, Construction Industry Training Board, for funding the project, and all our project partners. Please be in touch. I'm available for further discussion and to give guidance where needed. In the meantime, start utilising this content from our website, www.offsiteready.com, to access the teaching material. Thank you, everyone.